this day that you have given us. How grateful we were when we opened our eyes to see the beauty of a new day. We ask, Lord God, that you would lead, guide, and direct us as we take care of business today, that we would be agreeable without being disagreeable, that we get along, we all be on one accord. We ask this in all things in your name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Call to order the regular meeting of Danville-Boyle County Planning and Zoning Commission, May 24th, 2023. First order of business is approval of minutes. Has everyone had a chance to look at the minutes, any comments, changes that need to be made? If not, we can have
I'll move that we approve the minutes, Chairman.
we have a motion to approve the minutes, and we have a second. All in favor? Motion so moved.
Now, the folks online, Tom, we don't have a picture of what you're doing.
Yeah, could we get an aye from you, Tom, on the minutes?
Muted. He's muted.
Tom? This is gonna be fun.
You can just hold the space bar to unmute Tom.
What?
I don't know what she said.
Where you hold the space bar on your computer laptop and you can open the microphone, you let it off, it'll go mute again. It's a way of working the system. For those folks in the audience here today, we have Michaela Jerry, who's the director, and Commissioner Tom Ruby online to support what we need to have today. So that's what we're trying to do, is set those up. Tom, can you hear us? Hey, Michaela, can you send a note to Tom Ruby there for me?
Who's the host of the meeting? Is Michaela?
I did just text them. I'm going to send them a chat on here as well and see if that works.
Okay, thank you. And for those that visit this, we don't do this very often, but we have vacations and people traveling, unfortunately. Welcome to the holiday season. It's actually worse than during the Christmas time.
There's Tom back.
Hey, Tom.
Maybe not.
Tom, are you able to hear me? Would you like to try and call in, Tom, rather than do the video? Okay, Tom just texted me and said I'm unable to hear anything. I see video. Henry, would he be allowed to call one of us and one of you all and just put him on speaker so we can get his help on things?
I've been thinking about this, Michaela, because I believe he's required to have video as part of this. And I know that Tom is going above and beyond by joining us remotely today anyhow, much less to ask him to appear by video. But that's the required way. I think we could ask each applicant as they come up whether they have any objection to Commissioner Ruby joining via audio only. As far as I'm concerned, there's no difference between him joining video with his camera turned off and joining by phone. That's the same thing. But I do think we should probably have some kind of acknowledgement from each public hearing applicant that they're okay with Tom joining by audio only.
Okay, okay, I'll text them and who should I have them call? Who all has their phone on them?
Everybody.
Okay. I told him to call you, Jeff, so he'll be able to hear you easiest to know what the roll call is.
Okay, thank you.
So I think you'll just put them on speaker and try and put the mic up to both you and Tom's phone and your phone.
That always brings bear. I do apologize for everyone's wait. Tom was gracious enough to do the meeting this way so that we could have a quorum and not have to delay everybody's cases for another month, so.
He hasn't called yet, Jeff?
No. Here. Welcome.
Sorry, Jeff. I saw you guys I can see you the whole time, but I couldn't hear a thing.
Okay, well, we've got you on now, on speaker. So I've got you on speaker next to the microphone. I need your vote for the approval of the minutes.
Yes, sir. You have it.
Okay, so that motion passes. Moving on to the financial report. Everybody has that in their packet. If you'll look at that, if you have any comments or questions, we'll address that. If not, we'll take a motion.
There really wasn't much change that you
No.
expect. I make a motion that we accept the financial report.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second to accept the financial report. All in favor? Say, let's say aye.
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 All right, motion passes. Construction sureties.
Yep, no new updates on the construction sureties. I did put something on the agenda for, the May Boulevard. I would ask that we move it to the end of the agenda because it's a plat that's on the agenda for today. So I don't think we should,
Okay,
authorize the chairman to sign the contract until after the plat is approved.
okay, so we'll come back to that. Subdivision approvals. Lisa?
To accept the sureties and accept moving it to the end.
I don't think we need a motion. We can just
Okay.
reorder our agenda. Yeah, if we were tabling, we would have a motion, but,
Okay.
yeah.
Subdivision approvals. First of all, we have one that is tabled from April 26, 23, which is Oscar Jr. and Don Bailey have applied for the subdivision of a 3.690 acre parcel of land located at 0 Lower Salt River Road in Boyle County. Property is zoned ag. I need to ask the board for a motion to remove this and then retable it. I guess that's how we have to do that, correct? They still have not updated their application or paid their fees, so,
A motion to table would suffice.
okay.
I make a motion that we table it.
We have a motion to table.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes unanimously.
Secondly, we have Highcliff Properties LLC. They've applied for the approval of a consolidation plat that will be creating 12.006 acres of land known as 0 Boffman Avenue in Danville. The property is zoned RM2. All corrections have been made, I believe. Vantage is the surveyor. And it's ready for final approval. Do you want to do them all or one at a time? Do all? Okay. Secondly, we have Shelby Tyler, who's applied for the subdivision of 21.869 acres of land. It's in 2 tracts. They're known as 4595 and 4600 Harrodsburg Road in Boyle County. The property is zoned ag. Again, Vantage is the surveyor. All corrections have been made. It's ready for final approval. And moving on. And lastly, we have Patty Chidester has applied for the subdivision of 9.973 acres of land located at 2165 Works Run Road in Danville. The property is zoned ag. Vantage is the surveyor. I think corrections have been made. It's ready for final approval. And that's it. And I guess we'll do a motion on those before we move on to
Okay,
the.
we're gonna do a motion on numbers 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions? I hear a motion. I have a motion to accept.
I'll second the motion.
And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Number 5.
Yes, I can present this one. This is Team Leader LLC, aka May Property. has applied for approval of a subdivision on a tract of land containing 7.242 acres located at 0 South Danville Bypass, Danville, Kentucky. The property is zoned highway business. They sent me a corrected plat last evening. Did they hand one out to you all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to comment on the updated plan. I've done the best I can to review it, there's like see a few minor changes that are required beyond what I'm gonna talk about here, but, for the typical street cross section, they need to show 5-foot sidewalk width rather than 4-foot that they're showing, to be meeting our standards. Also for the pavement, it's, 2.5 base, not 2. And I think that was all I had for corrections on that. Otherwise, I believe it is meeting our regulations for that. They're just trying to create, the 2 commercial lots. The front one has, a lot of gas easements running through it. I don't believe that the plan is to develop that lot. And one of the tracks, track B, is gonna be used for public right of way for May Boulevard, and that's the typical cross section that we're looking at there. Are there any questions on this?
Michaela, is there a, at the connection of this new street to the existing May Boulevard on the low side, is there any specification about how that's made? It looks like it's not exactly in line.
It will be in line. Doug might be better suited for answering how that connection's gonna occur, but my understanding is the street's just going to continue. You can see where that dashed line is. That's the center line. That's the proposed center line of the road. So they're showing they're showing a required 50-foot right of way, but where you're actually seeing, the dash center line, that's where the road will be built, so it should continue on and be seamless. There's certainly the intent to have that connectivity. And then on the other end, it's not shown yet, but, that is going to be public right of way on the western side to bring it out to, back out to the bypass. That's currently more of a gravel road to be back to the tower now, but that is going to be a public right of way.
And you've all seen that before, is this?
Yeah, the tech group reviewed this in her previous comments. What we didn't get is this revised until yesterday.
Yep,
So,
okay.
but
Yeah, these were a
we were
few
talking about the
updates
same
I'd
thing.
asked for the center line, go across street section, they fixed their purpose statement. So everything that I'd asked for, they've done, so I think it's good to go. But like I said, I obviously didn't have a lot of time on it, so hopefully I'm not missing anything in the quick review.
Yeah, the big thing, Michaela, was adding that cross-sectional area definition to the plat,
Yeah, absolutely.
because we did not change the purpose. The purpose is still the same purpose that we saw and looked at.
Yeah, they just cleaned it up.
Yeah.
It was a carryover from the previous plat where they were trying to ingress and egress easement, and that's not on this plat, so they just had to clean that up. That's why I meant by fixing the purpose statement.
Okay.
No conditions?
No, the only conditions are to, update the typical street cross-section to be meeting our standards of the, 2 5-foot sidewalk. So I guess I do have a question for the typical street cross-section number 2. It's only showing a sidewalk on one side. Is Doug in attendance?
No, Doug's not, but Dale is.
Is Dale here?
Yes.
Dale, please
Okay.
introduce yourself.
I'm Dale Shepperson, AGE Engineering.
You-
Okay, well,
Pull the microphone back toward you there, Dan. Thank you, sir.
yes, the sidewalk will be on both sides, we'll
And
Okay.
you can make it 5 foot?
Yes, yes.
Alright, and then it'll have to be the 2.5 days. Those are my only two conditions.
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm perfectly good with Tom being on speakerphone.
Thank you.
Thank you. It looks like you gathered everything we needed.
So we need a motion.
I make a motion, we accept it with the latest cross-sectional plan. And this is for, and the conditions that was discussed here.
And I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept with conditions, as stated. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. Motion passes. Okay. Public hearing. We have a table hearing from a previous meeting.
You want me to read it for you?
A vote. We have a motion to bring it.
Right, tabled from April 26, 23. Jamie Durham, on behalf of Fifth Row Properties LLC, has applied for a zoning map amendment from industrial business development, IBD, to central business, CB, on 0.23 acres of land in 2 tracts located at 496 and 498 Delahaye Street. Yeah, we please need a motion to take it off the table.
Before we go too much further, is there, on our projector, can we have it put up? Is that possible?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize she had subdivisions on here, you all.
What was the question, sorry?
There we go. Got
The
it.
projector inside the room here, having it show what we're talking about.
Ah.
It would be just before that. That's the one we're talking about today.
That's the one we're talking about at the
Right.
moment. We need a motion to take it off the table.
And I'll move to take it off the table.
Thank you, sir.
We have a motion to take off the table. Need a second? Second. And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. This is a public
Henry,
hearing.
Before,
Go ahead, Michaela, I'm sorry.
sorry, Jeff, it's hard for me to hear, I don't mean to be cutting anyone off. Before we open the public hearing, should we confirm that it's okay with the applicant? Do we need to do that prior to each public hearing, or?
I think we should. That's a good point, so.
Okay.
Would you like to come forward and state your name, please?
For
And
the representative.
so we just have it for the record. Appreciate it.
I'm James Durham, I'm fine with the guy on the phone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orr.
Okay. Who's representing?
I am,
Okay.
okay, I'm just, this is a building on the end of Delahaye Street, center, across the street from Center Committee. Baseball field, it's a building I bought about a year ago on some other property at the other end of the street. Was a really dilapidated, terrible building, if you are familiar with it. We've remodeled it, we have put some commercial space in downstairs, some residential space upstairs. It's, as I said, right across the street from Center. The current use allows us to do both apartments and commercial, but we would like to do some Airbnbs there, since it's right next to Center's athletic fields. To do Airbnbs, we need to change, there's not Airbnb in industrial zone, so we need to change the zone just so we can do the Airbnb aspect of it.
Yeah, the current zoning on the property is IBD, Industrial Business Development District. The future land use map does show this area as commercial. So we talked about it and we felt that, central business was probably appropriate. This area is in Danville's downtown master plan, which is one reason central business would be appropriate, as well as just that area, most of the buildings are right up against the street, which central business is really the only commercial district that has a 0-foot front setback. So that whole area may in the future be looking at central business as the commercial district that's appropriate for that area, but I do find that it's in compliance with the comprehensive plan.
Hey, Michaela, Director, are there central business around that area, the building next door, properties next door? Is that what they're categorized?
No, pretty much that whole area currently, if Lisa goes to the next slide, you can see what the zoning is. Pretty much that whole area right now. This map isn't completely updated. The IPD that you see to the west is now all ICD. That's where Center's new athletic fields went in. But once you get to the north, east, and south, it's all zoned IBD currently. There are a lot of industrial, commercial type uses out there if you drive through there. And then there's obviously the residential area to the north, and then highway business more to the east once you get closer to 4th Street. I think neighborhood business might have been appropriate, but with, like I said, just with the nature of that area, with so few setbacks and being pedestrian oriented, it's hard to do infill, meeting our landscaping and parking requirements for that little pocket. And with it being in the downtown master plan, I do think central business is appropriate. With the future land use map showing essentially all that IBD area showing as commercial for future land use. So I'm sorry I didn't put the future land use map in here, I guess, on the slideshow, but it should be in your staff packet.
Thank you. I just wanted to confirm that, and the Airbnb is in that category too. So we are talking about the two properties next to each other there on the corner, right? Okay. Interesting. It's quite an improvement from what it was, by the way.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
It does.
Anything further to say?
No?
At this time, we'll open up floor to anyone who wants to speak in favor of this zoning map amendment. Please come forward, state your name and address. Seeing none, if anyone wants to speak against this zoning map amendment, please come forward, state your name and address. Seeing none, we'll open it up for discussion.
Do we need to close the public?
At this time, the public hearing is closed. Open for discussion amongst the board.
I didn't see any concerns at all.
No staff concerns, so there's no other issues here. Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the proposed zoning map amendment. Based on the testimony and documents presented in the public hearing, it's in agreement with the following finding required by KRS 100-213, and it's in agreement with the adopted comprehensive plan. And I request that the motion include the summary of evidence and testimony.
Commissioner Nolet, I would just want to highlight as part of your motion that the lot is included in Danville's master plan, that the proposed zoning is in conformity with the future land use map, and that landscaping and parking requirements render other commercial rezonings difficult.
Yes, so I include that, please, in the motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion.
I'd like to second that motion, please.
We have a second.
Either way.
Okay, we'll take Tom seconds. We have a second on the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Our second public hearing Highcliff Properties LLC through Steve Elliott has applied for a zoning map amendment from RM2 Single Family Duplex Residential to R1C Single Family Residential on 12.006 acres of land, one tract located at 0 Hoffman Avenue in Danville. Will the parties that come forward? State your name and address, please, for the record.
Good morning. My name is Whitney Johns. I'm counsel for Highcliff Properties LLC. Do you need my address?
Please.
119 Short Street, Harrodsburg.
Thank you.
And I have no objection with one of the commissioners being by phone.
Thank
Thank
you.
This is the first time I've ever been in front of this commission, so please tell me if I'm not doing something customary. Highcliff Properties has requested a rezoning of that 12.006 acres that got consolidated earlier today from an RM2 to an R1C. This parcel is located on Bothman Avenue, surrounded by mainly residential properties, including a mobile home park, a church, and a cemetery. The existing classification is RM2, which is for two-family residential districts for duplexes and twin homes. The applicant has requested the parcel to be classified as R1C, which is a single-family residential district and would allow for single-family home development. In this community, just like around the country, there's a serious shortage of smaller footprint, affordable housing. Not everybody can afford a 2,000-plus square foot home right now, especially with building costs and interest rates the way they are. The future land use map designates the property as moderate density residential. This land use designation consists of areas developed for higher density single-family homes as well as the multifamily homes such as duplexes. So the future land use designation is appropriate for what it's currently zoned at and what we are requesting the zone be changed at. Highcliff simply wants to build smaller single-family homes in the area instead of duplexes. That's as simple as this is. Densities in areas designated as moderate density residential should range from 5 to 16 dwellings per acre. Our conceptual plan currently shows 58 lots on the 12.006 acres, which is around 5 dwellings per acre. And we agree that the development will be consistent with that between the 5 to 16 dwellings per acre. The proposed zone R1C supplemented with the future land use designation of moderate density will allow for higher density single-family home development that is not currently allowed in the property's current zoning designation. The proposed development and zone change is in compliance with the moderate density residential land use, so there's no amendment required for the future land use map. The adjacent property to the west is shown to be low-density residential, so this project, we believe, will create a good transition between the low-density area to the west and the mobile home park to the east. The zoning map is in compliance with the future land use map, as I've already stated, as well as at least 2 goals of the comprehensive plan. The higher density single-family home layout meets the goal of the comprehensive plan by adjusting the zoning in the current neighborhood, which is predominantly single-family, but is currently designated for multifamily use. It also allows for higher density single-family homes to be built in an area that is designated for the moderate level of residential growth, which is also a goal of the comprehensive plan. I believe the staff report that Michaela provided previously states that the proposed zoning map amendment request is in agreement with the comprehensive plan. We think that's clear, and so we would just ask you to, I did prepare findings of fact and conclusions of law, and I think I sent it to Mr. Smith. Hopefully he got to review it ahead of time, and I have copies for everybody if you all would like, but I would just ask you all to adopt that and to find that the proposed zone change is in agreement with the comprehensive plan and is consistent with Harris 100.213. And if you all have any questions, I'll try to answer them. If not, I've got Mr. Elliott and our surveyor here as well. And may I approach to pass these out, or?
Please. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Attorney Smith, what are your comments on this? You ever looked the
I've
document
seen these findings. They reflect exactly what council has just presented to you. I think they, if you accept them, demonstrate compliance with the comprehensive plan. Council, I did want to ask one question. The staff report talks about how your development meets with the future land use guidance for residential development. You mentioned in your findings complying with 2 comp plan goals. Were those, when you talk about comp plan goal compliance, were you talking about residential land use guidance, or were there other goals that you wanted to highlight?
I think residential land use guidance is what we
Okay.
were talking about.
Okay.
Thank you.
Has your organization been involved with other of this nature in this area, other plats of ground and activities?
Yes.
So this is not a first time?
Yes, I think that there is adjacent, yes, and Highcliff Properties has developed quite a bit, and then
Yeah.
under other LLCs,
Well,
we've
there's
got
other ones, but
developer.
yeah.
But I believe he's actually got, but a different, it might be townhomes in a very close location to this that he has developed. But here he's focused on about 12 to 1,300 square foot homes. They're nice. We've got similar properties going up in Mercer County too, and they really are needed because a lot of the new development is really large houses that are very hard to afford right now.
There is a water drainage, stormwater drainage across the one corner of this property down toward the church corner down in the bottom right area on there. And the property, they've got a particular property, it's not, do you have the image of the layout of the properties? I think it's the next one, maybe. Yeah. Over there, on the right side, the dash line comes down in the corner over there, and that's a big section area. Is there still adequate, do you feel there's still adequate ground and property for somebody to want to buy that property? That particular one is number 15 on the image that you have, but it looks to be much, much larger than the other blocks of ground.
Right. My understanding is that regardless whether we're able to build, whether that cuts off some of the areas that we can actually develop, that we can still keep with the density requirements.
Okay.
But if you want to know much more about the drainage
No,
issues, I'm
there's-
probably going to have to refer
And I'm
to
just
our
making
surveyor.
sure the acknowledgement that is there and you need to accommodate it. It's
Yes, we
just all I'm
understand
looking
that
for.
is there.
Okay, that's all I'm looking for.
Okay.
Because it also goes across another plot of ground. If you follow the dash line up toward the left,
Right.
there's a corner there and another property on the corner. It's between 2 properties.
And I'm confident, I feel like the developer has worked with other similar issues, and I'm confident they can route that drainage in a way that
Right.
still allows for this
Because
conceptual plan.
handling stormwater is a very significant item in this area.
Yes.
Okay.
Understand.
Any other questions for the applicant?
We're going to get a chance to ask questions, other questions later?
To the applicant?
Yeah, I'm questioning about the street corridor. There's shown in the map here in the upper left.
Yes.
Is that intended to be a dead end? There's no connection to anything else as it goes off the plat on the upper left?
And Kendall and I talked about this before, but I'm probably going to have to defer to him because
That's
he
fine.
knows the property a little better than I do.
Yeah.
Please state your name and address, please, sir.
Kendall Wise, Vantage Engineering, 2038 Danville Road, Harrodsburg. And so the property immediately adjacent to us could be further subdivided. So that field that you see, it's a long skinny field, could be developed and could be subdivided. So just, being conscious of that possibility, we've extended that street so that it could be extended to the neighboring property in the future. Does that take care of the
That
question? I
helps,
mean,
thank
it's-
you. And is there any concern with traffic, given that there's 58 lots here coming back onto Bauman Ave?
Right. Well, this property is an infill development area, so, it makes sense for the property to be developed regardless of what kind of street you have. Obviously, the intersection at Ghost Pike is not a great intersection, but the state is working on highway plans to improve that. We have stop sign, traffic signal there at the Sonic where this road intersects with Fourth Street. So, you know, between those two intersections, I think you just have you have a typical city street that can be congested. You know, I mean, it's.
And I note in the staff report that you don't need a traffic study for this.
That's what
Is that
was.
correct?
Yes.
Yeah, the property is currently zoned R2, so dropping to R1C, the units, the number of units, like, we have a 5,000 square foot minimum lot size requirement for R2 per unit, and then for R1C, it's a 5,000 square foot lot size for one unit. It would just be single family rather than the duplex or twin home. So with going through this zone change, they're not proposing any density change.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? At this time, we'll open up the public hearing to anyone who wants to speak in favor of this zone map amendment. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Good morning. My name's Ronnie Brown. I own property adjacent to what they're talking about developing. First of all, I don't have any objections to more housing in Danville. I do it, you do it, we all do. But I'm not sure, 58 lots,
Can I interrupt you for a moment? Right now, we're asking for people speaking in favor.
and I agree. No,
Oh, okay.
I don't have an objection.
Okay, go ahead, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
And it's okay with me if the fella joins us by phone, okay?
Thank you.
I'm a little concerned, and again, I don't have any problems with construction there. I heard it said, well, the traffic survey is not necessary. Well, I object to that comment. It is necessary.
What do you,
All right, I'm gonna have to interrupt. We've lost contact with
Commissioner Ruby? Yeah.
Did you time out? or-
Quick callback, maybe?
I'm sorry.
You're good.
It's just,
Doing it this way is difficult.
we're trying to have a hearing today, and it's not good for anybody, but.
Reach Tom Ruby.
Certainly
I'm
not
sorry, I'm
your
not-
problem, sir.
Hi, you've reached Tom Ruby. I'm sorry.
Do we still have Michaela?
Kayla, you still there?
What's that?
Just seeing if you were still with us. We've lost Tom.
Okay, yeah, I'm still here.
I've
Um,
texted him and called him twice. He says he's lost cell coverage. I think he's in another country, correct?
Okay. Does he expect to recover it?
If you want to sit down, we'll be back to it. Make it easy on you.
Thank you.
Welcome to international.
Yeah, I've done enough international travel, I know how that goes.
I thought you and I both.
Yes. He's not on,
We'd like to think the communications is better than that on telephone, but it is
Well-
not.
generally, I always had good access, you know, telephone and all that stuff, but 12-hour time difference is hard to deal with. He's got, how many hours off is it? Europe?
I don't know where he's at. It could be anywhere from 5 to 7.
Yeah, that's probably,
5 is England, 7 maybe.
mm-hmm. It's interesting.
I sent him a message, but I haven't heard back, because it took him a long time to respond to the first one, so.
Do we want to set a time limit, and then after that time limit, we could adjourn for 5 or 10? If he's not back by then, if we still don't have a quorum, we don't have any way to transact business.
I would assume we could take a 10-minute break, and then if he comes back in, we'll be able to arrange something like that. But you're right. I think that's where we're heading.
You want to go ahead and take a break now? All right, do we need have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we take a 10-minute break while we try to resolve it.
Got a second? All in favor? Well, we can't even vote on that. We don't have
This is true.
We can vote, but it's not going to do anything.
can't have a vote because we didn't have a vote to go out. We can't have a vote to come back. Our member who was so graciously trying to accommodate our meeting day has completely, totally lost cell service. So at this time, we're going to have to table to a time in the future, which I think we had discussed when we didn't know whether this meeting was going to happen or not. We had discussions amongst ourselves that we could probably have a quorum for next Wednesday if everyone could, we could accommodate that. And Michaela, if you're still there, if you want to chime in anytime, feel more than free.
I'm here, yes, I did reach out to members to see if next Wednesday at 9 AM. So I believe it's May 31st, 9 AM, City Commission Chambers. I will not be attending via Zoom next week if we're able to make that work.
So at that time, like I said, we can't even have a vote to even do this, but we will pick up, we'll just table.
We need a vote for a special call meeting, Henry.
We can't even adjourn this meeting.
Right. That, I think what we're talking about is not so much a special called meeting, it's a continuation of this one. I think we'll, kind of treat it as both in the way that we advertise and provide notice of it. And I think that the practicalities of the situation, the statute says that the commission cannot transact business in the absence of a quorum. It's not that we're approving a zone change or something, it's just that we're agreeing to reconvene. So I think that having a vote on that is what we're able to do right now. And I think it makes sense to have a vote to table it, and that'll be a way to, put a bow on it.
Okay. So I need a motion.
I'll move to table further discussion today and reconvene at a future date.
Which date is Wednesday, the 31st?
Wednesday, the
9 a.m.?
31st is tentative, I guess.
9 a.m.
Yes. Continuing the entire agenda is your motion, I would suggest.
Continuing with our agenda as stated.
And I think appropriate discussion on that motion is just to confirm with any other applicants who were yet to be heard that they're able and available for next Wednesday. Okay.
I know we have an out-of-town attorney for the cell tower. We may want to consider accommodations for that. Is he in attendance?
That's the only thing, I just want to see if it might be possible to attend those meetings.
Given that we're using Zoom today, I think, yes, a continuation of that technology is fine, so.
Thank you.
I think what we want to make sure we have both visual and audio connection for that.
I think so.
And it makes sense. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
We have a motion passes with a quorum -1. I would like to apologize to everyone who's taken their time and efforts and energies to come here today. I want you to know that we did this with the best intentions of not holding anyone up, not causing anyone any additional duress, and unfortunately it has backfired. So just know that we did this with all of you all in mind to try to not, to move forward with your all's agendas, and unfortunately we were unable to do that. So I appreciate you taking your time and your efforts and your energies to be here, and hopefully we can take care of your all's issues next week. Thank you. Mr. Brown, you need to remember exactly what words you were on.